Welcome. Welcome to the course of Certification of Organic Production and Geographical Indication. In this lecture, I will speak about Regulation 889 of 2008 of European Commission, which is a regulation and it is an implementation regulation of the other regulation 834 of 2007. Okay, as you see in the next slide, this regulation has 5 titles and different chapters. We'll not treat all the issues and all the titles as you see in this lecture. Even this lecture will be divided for space reasons, will be divided in different parts. However, we are here in the speaking about implementation regulation 889 of 2008. Just to remind or to have a general explanation, which is the structure of this regulation. In this regulation, as I explained previously, there are 5 titles, 22 chapters in total, and 97 articles. Title 1, which is titled Provisions, has 2 articles, is a short title. Title 2, Rules of Production and Processing. This title includes 7 chapters and 54 articles. As you see, it is the longest title. Title 3 is titled Labeling. It includes 3 chapters and 6 articles. Title 4, Controls, includes 8 chapters and 30 articles. And at the end, there is Title 5, Information and Final Provisions. It has 2 chapters and 5 articles. Part of Regulation 889 of 2008, there are some annexes. There are 14 annexes. They are linked to different titles. So when I will treat title and we explain the corresponding and present the corresponding annex for each title. So have a nice study. We'll continue with the first title and second title, Provisions and Rules of Production and Processing. Here you have the link. You have a link or the URL where you can find and can download the regulation. However, I wanted to remind you here, except the link I have presented in the previous slide, you have to check in the repository because you will have these regulations there in order to be easier for you to find them and not to lose time to go to search in the European Commission link. So let's start with provisions and rules of production and processing. Title 1, Introductory Provisions. As I explained, there are two articles. This is through the shortest titles. That's why I preferred to include in the same section both Title 1 and Title 2. So, Article 1, Subject, Matter and Scope. The regulation introduces specific norms referred to Article 1, Paragraph 2 of Regulation number 834 of 2007. It deals with technical rules. These regulations shall not apply to the following products: products originating from aquaculture, seaweed, livestock species other than those referred to Article 7, yeast used as food or feed. Here are in the Article 2 definitions. In this article are defined the terms non-organic, veterinary medicinal products, importer, first consignee, holding, production unit, hydroponic production, veterinary treatment, in conversion feeding stocks. These are important terms that are used in the regulation 889 of 2008. Do not forget that there is another list of definitions that again deal with or are part of organic production methods, organic regulation. There are the definitions presented in the Regulation 834 of 2007. Okay, let's present the most important terms. Let's present their definition. Non-organic means not coming from or not related to a production in accordance to Regulation 834 of 2007 and this regulation, so the Regulation 889 of 2008. Importer means the natural or legal person within the community who presents a consignment for release for free circulation into the community, either in person or through a representative. First consignee means the natural or legal person to whom the imported consignment is delivered and who will receive it for further preparation and/or marketing. Holding means all the production units operated under a single management for the purpose of producing agricultural products. Production unit means all assets to be used for a production sector such as production premises, land parcels, pasturages, open air areas, livestock buildings, fish ponds, containment systems for seaweed or aquaculture animals, shore or seabed concessions, the premises for the storage of crops, crop products, seaweed products, animal products, raw materials, and any other input relevant for this specific production sector. Hydroponic production means the method of growing plants with their roots in a mineral nutrient solution only or in an inert medium such as perlite, gravel, or mineral wool to which a nutrient solution is added. And the other term important to be defined is veterinary treatment means all courses of a curative or preventive treatment against one occurrence of a specific disease. Title 2, Rules of Production and Processing. Okay, Chapter 1, Plant Production. Let's start with Article 3, Soil Management and Fertilization. According to this, nutritional needs of plants, firstly, are referred to Article 12 of Regulation 834 of 2007. You can find it in paragraph 1.A, B, C, which refer to tillage, crop rotation, legumes, so use of legumes, use of green manure, biodynamic preparations, biodiversity, support of biodiversity, animal manure, composted, and so on. So the nutrition needs of plants firstly have to be based on these agronomic or agricultural practices. And according again to this article, appropriate preparation of microorganisms may be used. In the case when the needs of the plants are not met, farmers can use fertilizers, soil conditions, and nutrients referred to Annex 1. There is a limit of the amount of the livestock manure, but not only livestock, I mean poultry, farmyards, and all of these they can use in the farm. Has not to exceed 170 kilograms of nitrogen per year per hectare. This is in order to protect waters. When there is a lot of nitrogen, the nitrogen could go through runoffs or infiltration to the waters, and will be a loss of it. But the most important is the environmental issue problem. So then we'll have process of pollution, of eutrophication, and then it's a chain of impacts. There are indication of type of manures, and again, in the case where the farmer or the farm do not fulfill its needs for organic fertilizers, manure, animal manure, and so on, it can take from other organic farms. So can be a cooperation with other farms or a spreading of the soil fertilizers like manure, animal manure, or compost. Here you can see this annex 1. Fertilizer and soil conditioners refer to Article 3, paragraph 1. You can find in the regulation, but however, in order to firstly to have an idea and then you can go deeply, we can discuss here firstly. So what we see here, we see a list of different fertilizers and conditioners that can be used in organic farming. First, for example, compound products or products containing only materials listed here under, like farmyard manure. And you have in the right side the description: product comprising a mixture of animal excrements and vegetable matter, like the vegetable matter of animal bedding. Factory farming, origin forbidden. So Other dried farmyard manure and dehydrated poultry manure. Factory farming origin forbidden. What else? Composted animal excrements, including poultry manure and composted farmyard manure, included. Factory farming origin again forbidden. Liquid animal excrements used after controlled fermentation and/or appropriate dilution. Factory farming origin forbidden. Composted or fermented household waste. Product obtained from source separated household waste, which has been submitted to composting or to anaerobic fermentation for biogas production. Only vegetative and animal household waste, only when produced in a closed and monitored collection system accepted by the member state. Maximum concentration in milligram per kilogram of dry matter. You have some limits of some metals. Cadmium 0.7, copper 70, nickel 25, lead 45, zinc 200, mercury 0.4, chromium total and chromium 6, and chromium 6 is 0. It is peat use limited to horticulture. So peat is very limited use. Market gardening, floriculture, arboriculture, and nursery. Continue with fertilizers and conditioners allowed, including the positive list. Mushroom culture waste. The initial composition of the substrate shall be limited to products of this annex. Dejecta worms or vermicompost and insects. Guano, composted or fermented mixture of vegetable matter, product obtained from mixture of vegetable matter which have been submitted to composting or to anaerobic fermentation for biogas production. What else? Products or byproducts of animal origin as below. Blood meal, hoof meal, horn meal, bone meal and degelatinized bone meal, fish meal, meat meal, feather, hair and chickweed meal, wool, fur, hair, dairy products. Maximum concentration in milligram per kilogram of dry matter of chromium 6 is 0, so it's not allowed any trace of it. Here down, look at this. You have again the link related to this regulation. In order, you can go easily directly to the annex. Okay, continue with article with Annex 1. Sorry. Again, explaining which are the products that are included in the positive list. Products and byproducts of plant origin for fertilizers. Example of it: oilseed cake meal, cocoa husks, and malt culms. Seaweeds and seaweed products, as far as directly obtained by 1. Physical process, including dehydration, freezing, and grinding. 2. Extraction with water or aqueous acid and/or alkaline solution. And 3rd, fermentation, through fermentation. Sawdust and wood chips, composted bark, wood ash, all of them, and in the cases when the wood is not chemically treated after felling. Soft ground rock phosphate, so it can be used mineral fertilizers too of natural origin from rocks. in nature. This product is specified in the regulation 2003 of 2003 relating fertilizers. It is important here that there are limits about cadmium. The cadmium content less than or equal to 90 milligrams per kilogram of phosphate. What else? Aluminium calcium phosphate. Again, according to the same regulation, and there are the same limits about cadmium. Their use is limited to basic soils, which have the pH higher than 7.5. What else? Basic slag products as specified in Regulation 2003 of 2003. Crude potassium salt or kainite, potassium sulfate possibly containing magnesium salt, which is product obtained from crude potassium salt by a physical extraction process containing possibly also magnesium salts. Stillage and stillage extract, ammonium stillage excluded, calcium carbonate, chalk, marl, ground limestone, Breton, ameliorant, phosphate, chalk, all of these only of natural origin. Magnesium and calcium carbonate, only again of natural origin. For example, magnesium chalk, ground magnesium limestone. Magnesium sulfate, only of natural origin. Calcium chloride solution, calcium sulfate or gypsum. Industrial lime from sugar production. It is a byproduct of sugar production from sugar beet. Industrial lime from vacuum salt production. It's a byproduct of the vacuum salt production from brine found in mountains. Elemental sulfur, trace element, inorganic micronutrients listed in Part E of Annex 1 of Regulation 2003 of 2003. Sodium chloride and limine salts, stone meal and clays. Article 4, prohibition of hydroponic production. So this article, or according to this article, the hydroponic production is not considered and not can be certified as organic production method. Article 5, pest disease and weed management. The protection from pests and diseases here refer to Article 12 again of Regulation 834 of 2007, paragraph 1, point A, B, C, and G. So it is the protection is mainly based on prevention, the prevention of damage caused by pests, diseases, and weeds. In the case of an establishment threat to a crop, plant protection products may only be used if they have been authorized for use in organic production. So we have to go to Annex 2, which lists the allowed pesticides, but they are not really pesticides. For products used in trap and dispensers, except pheromone dispensers, the traps shall be collected after use and disposed of safely. So we have to prevent the substances from being released into the environment and contact between them or between these substances and the crops. In the Annex 2, there are tables which show, and list for sure, which shows which are the products included in the positive list. So this Annex 2 has substances of crops and animal origin. There is a section listing the microorganisms or substances produced by microorganisms. 3 substances for traps and dispensers, and the section for other different substances used in traditional organic farming. Let's start with first section, substances of crop or animal origin. Here you have a list. For example, the first one is azadirachtin extracted from Azadirachta indica, which in the common language, in the common English name, is called neem tree. It is used as an insecticide. Beeswax, it is a pruning agent. It is large. Gelatin is used as an insecticide. Hydrolyzed proteins are serving as attractant only in authorized application in combination with other appropriate products of this list, so including this list. Lecithin is a fungicide. Plant oils, plant oil origin like mint oil, pine oil, caraway oil, clove oil, clover oil, and so on. They are insecticide, acaricide, fungicide, and sprout inhibitor, depends on the case. Pyrethrin, extracted from Chrysanthemum cinerariifolium. It is used as an insecticide. Quassia, extracted from Quassia amara, which is used as insecticide and sometimes it serves as a repellent. Rotenone, extracted from dairy species and Longcarpus species and Terfros species. All of them, let's say, extraction of rotenone are used as an insecticide. Okay, the section 2 of the products all allowed in organic farming to be used when the preventive measures didn't function or were not successful. First, we have microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, and fungi. There is a product called spinosad, which is insecticide. It is allowed to be used only where measures are taken to minimize the risk to kill parasitoids, so beneficiary insects, and to minimize the risk of development of resistance. What else? Substance to be used in traps and dispensers. So the substances that can be used in traps and dispensers are the ammonium phosphate, which is an attractant and is used only in traps. Pheromones, it is an attractant, can be a sexual behavior disruptor, and are allowed to use only in traps and dispensers. Pyrethroids, only deltamethrin or lambda cyhalothrin, which is an insecticide and is allowed to use only in traps with specific attractants, only against Bactrochera olea and Keratitis capitata. A preparation to be surface sprayed between cultivated plants. The one listed is ferric sulfate, which is iron 3, and orthophosphate. It is used to control mollusks. Other substances from traditional use in organic farming are copper in the form of copper hydroxide, copper oxychloride, copper sulfate, copper oxide, copper octanoate. It is used as fungicide. There is a limit up to 6 kilograms copper per year per 1 hectare. For perennial crops, member states may be derogation from the previous paragraph provide that the 6 kilogram copper limit can be exceeded in a given year, provided that the average quantity actually used over a 5-year period consisting of that year and of the 4 preceding years does not exceed 6 kilograms. Ethylene, it is used for degreening bananas, kiwis, and kakis. Degreening of citrus fruit only as part of a strategy for the prevention of fruit fly damage in citrus. Flower induction of pineapple, sprouting inhibition in potatoes and onions. Fatty acid potassium salt, soft soap. It is used as insecticide. Potassium aluminium sulfate or kalinite is used for prevention of ripening of bananas. Lime sulfur, calcium polysulfide, is used as fungicide, insecticide, and acaricide. Paraffin oil is used as insecticide and acaricide. Mineral oils, insecticide, fungicide, only in fruit trees, wines, olive trees, and tropical crops, for example, bananas. Potassium permanganate, fungicide, bactericide, only in fruit trees, olive trees, and wines. Quartz sand is used as a repellent. Sulfur is used as fungicide, acaricide, and repellent. And finally, included in the list, in the positive list of Annex 2, there is a calcium hydroxide, which is used as fungicide, allowed only in fruit trees, including nurseries, to control Nectaria galligena. Potassium bicarbonate is used as fungicide. Article 6, so we are in Article 6. Specific rules on mushroom production. Rules for the substrates and their composition. For production of mushrooms, substrates may be used only of the following components: farmyard manure and animal excrements from holdings producing according to the organic production method, or referred to in Annex 1 only when from organic production is not available and when they do not exceed 25% of the weight of total components of the substrate. Products of agricultural origin other than those referred to point A, which you mentioned from holdings producing according to organic production method. Peat not chemically treated, wood not treated with chemical products are for felling. Mineral products referred again to Annex 1 presented previously, and water and soil. As presented previously, the Regulation 889 of 2008 was not dealing with aquaculture. So later, after Regulation 889 of 2008, there was approved another regulation, Regulation 710 of 2009, which was laying down detailed rules on organic aquaculture, animal and seaweed production, linked with aquaculture practices and detailed production rules for the collection and farming of seaweed. So it it was application or implementation regulation related to Regulation 834 of 2007. Article 6C, Sustainable Harvesting of Wild Seaweed. It shows specific indication about sustainable wild harvesting. So it is considered their impact on the environment and in order to ensure seaweed regeneration, so to not have over harvesting, like in the case of wild collection too on the terrestrial plants. Seaweed production records regulated at Article 73 of this regulation. According to Regulation 710 of 2009, in Article 6D, seaweed cultivation aspect of seaweed culture at sea, defines type of nutrients content in the effluent balance with the environment. Indications are given in the Annex 1 of Regulation 889 of 2008. Article 6A, anti-fouling measures and cleaning of production equipment and facilities. So, regarding the biofouling, it's recommended removing of them physically by hands. Otherwise, the operators have to refer to Annex 7 of Regulation 889 of 2008, products for cleaning and disinfection.